I own no rights to this song as it plays.
So grown and sexy, so blazing to my eye. Ooh, attractive, seductive,
How we doing
so
today?
fine. You
This Sunday.
really don't have to try.
It's the Lord's Day.
Got it all natural
And
inside.
we've got conversations that we need to have today.
Always
So,
driving me wild. You're just
you are watching The Intellect with JR. I'm your host on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. Find us on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and all the top social media platforms. How we doing today on the Lord's Day? Got to give thanks, got to give blessings, got to give a big shout out to the man upstairs just for being able to wake up and see another day. Now, we're going to come to you with a little bit of news real quick, like get your minds together, give you a little something to think about. Well, you know the Prez is out of the hospital. He's back on the campaign trail. Doctors gave him a clean bill of health, and now Donald J. Trump has been unleashed. Okay, that's one. Second piece of news. India seems to have fortified their border with China in the Himalayas. They've sent 60,000 more troops into the mountains, and they have performed well under cold weather training. I don't know how China gonna do with that, but I don't know. Also, China has 1,000 companies thinking about leaving that country. A lot of them are going, a lot of them are American companies. Some of them are from around the world. And India is trying to make itself, I guess, attractive to those companies. Also, we have a new declassification that took place. The president released a few of the documents pertaining to the Russian hoax, and it's really starting to look interesting. The reason why I say that is because it openly implicates Hillary Clinton, in a real sneaky plot to throw off and distract from her deletion of 33,000 emails in order to make Trump more the scapegoat, draw your attention from what she did to what he was supposed to have done or whatever. That didn't happen like that. But now with the files being declassified, we get a better picture on what actually transpired. Jim Comey, well, we gonna see you again in the courthouse. All right. There's a few other notable individuals. A few more. But right now, you got Durham investigating this. All right. But he's investigating it for criminality. Because even if, she set up a plot to put out false information about the president dealing with Russia. And even if the Russians picked up on the idea that she was doing this, and they kind of fed her false information about the president, we still don't know if that's a crime or not. We still don't know exactly clearly how far up the ladder it goes. But let's just say, from what is all being reported, seems as if Vice President Joe Biden knew a little something about this. Also seems that President Obama knew a little bit about this here. But that's just another chapter. And like I said, right now, it doesn't look like any criminality took place, just a little underhanded, sneaky stuff. I don't know if it kind of goes to your character, but hey, it is what it is. Well, we left off yesterday talking about some of the reasons that I found didn't necessarily lead the Democrat Party and move on to greener pastures. All right, in my opinion, my humble opinion, because you remember now, this is an opinion show. We just happen to give you a few facts along the way. And as my opinion, I just thought it was time for me to move on. I learned too much about the party that I had been voting for. And you sometimes you got to draw the line. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just got to say, okay, I ain't trying to hear all that because it okay. There's a strategy that's being deployed. Okay, because I find it difficult to understand how every election cycle the Republican that's running is always racist. That just drives me nuts. Okay, I, what did all this come because of David Duke? He didn't run on our ticket, I don't believe. But the bottom line, well, I think he did. I take that back. But the bottom line is simply this, okay? You really got to be a nutcase to believe that every Republican that runs for office, be him a black man, Hispanic, a woman, whatever, you got to really be sick in your head to think that every time these individuals jump out there, they got to be racist. Why is that? Why? Because Democrat leadership tells you they racist? Oh, oh, okay. Well, I mean, it really it okay. I, that infuriates me. Okay, let's be honest. That truly infuriates me because if you notice, and I'm just gonna be honest about it, if you notice, when Republicans come to run for office, they actually are not talking about your race. Very few and far in between are talking about your race, but or that their opponent is racist. Okay, the, the whole politics of to me, I consider it politics of self destruction because why that just doesn't make any sense to me. It's somewhat confusing to think that every individual that runs for office has got to be some type of white supremacist or some kind of I don't know militia member. I don't know what the hell. It just seems a little redundant at this point that we continue to hear the same argument over and over and over again about the opponent. Is that either the opponent's got to get you, take something away from you, or they just don't like you because of your color, your ethnicity. That just that's ignorant. But what we are discussing, or what we were discussing yesterday, was the history of the parties. And like I said, I don't claim that the Republican Party is 100% correct. Some of the stuff they talk about, it's somewhat irritating because it's like you're not making the distinction between one thing or the other thing. Because you have to remember now, a lot of the stuff that transpired in the bills that were passed and all these other different things. I myself personally, like I said, it's an opinion show. I believe that a lot of Republicans sold out, and a lot of this stuff got passed. They shouldn't have been passed, which would make the economy more difficult to grow. All right. Now you have to remember. Now growth means economic stability. It means that you can have a job here, or if you're tired of working here, you can have a job over there. And that means like out of the country. I mean, I'm sorry, not out of the country, out of the state. You can be mobile because you know that the employment situation is as good in other locations as it is where you are. But when you have opportunities isolated to one area or another area, then that means that your opportunities are limited as well. You can only go there because there's only jobs here, or you can only go there because there's only jobs there. And it puts us in a position where we're somewhat trapped. When you have an economy that is flourishing and that has the opportunity to grow in the way that it's meant to grow, then guess what? You have mobility that goes along with your opportunities. The reason why we have the structure that we have currently, referring to the growth of the country as far as jobs go, is because of deregulation and lower taxes. The opponents would claim that those lower taxes only benefit the rich. Well, again, this is an opinion show. We only deal with facts. That's bull. Because I can recall two situations, and they were close together. I actually went into my boss's office one day, and I asked him for a raise. All right. Now, this was under the Obama administration when they passed all these heavy regulations, and they really were taxing businesses high. I went into my boss's office one day and I asked him, I said, hey, I've been here some years now and I ain't really rolled up on you about this, but we need to talk. I need some money. What can we do? The man looked me straight in my face and said, well, President Obama getting all my money, so I can't really raise too much up right now because dealing with fuel costs and maintenance fees and everything like that, so you just got to hold on. And it made sense. I'm not going to lie, it made sense because I'm watching it every day on the evening news, how the taxes going up and how businesses are being regulated heavily and all of the other things. Now, you would think that that's a good thing because you think regulations work for you. Because, yeah, you don't want nobody just to be able to run through a red light. You know, that's regulated. That's just traffic. I mean, you don't want people just to jump on the freeway and go as fast as they want to. That's crazy. The traffic speeds are regulated. It's set up to where it is best for you. But some regulations hinder you. And that's where the confusion kicks in. Because some people don't understand that when they regulate the amount of fuel that they can pump, that affects you because now you have higher gas prices. And the money that you have, you can't go in and ask for a raise because your boss is heavily taxed. And he's explained that he can't give you any money, no raise on your pay because of because he's being heavily taxed. So now you have two issues. Two. One, gas prices are going up, but your income is not. Prices is going up, but your income is not. Cost of heating your home going up, but your money isn't going up. You can't ask for a raise, and if you do, you can't get it. Now, that's under taxes and heavy regulation. Now, that also slows down the economy. It also makes it hard for small businesses to, one, function, and for two, to start up. This is under some crazy idea that everybody's got to pay their fair share. Under Democrat administrations, GE, General Electric, paid zero taxes. But now, under a Republican administration, and you want to come in behind that, you want to raise $4 trillion in taxes. We should all know businesses, corporations, when they are hit with heavy taxes, they don't pay those taxes. They are passed on to the consumer. We all know this. This is not, come on now, this is just real life. We all know this. This is not some fantasy utopia. This is just the real world. Those higher taxes that those corporations pay, they come in high gas prices. They come in high heating prices. They come in higher grocery prices. They come in everything across the board. Across the board. It's not as if you can say, well, this industry escaped them, and I'm going to go this way because they're cheaper. No. No one escapes those taxes. Those taxes are passed down to us, the consumer. And I hope once we all realize that when we all realize that politicians telling us that we're going to make somebody else pay, they're actually talking about us. When you say you're not going to pay any more taxes if you make under $400,000, yeah, right. This is the same thing that they feed you every 4 years. And they want you to think that, you know, the rich guy is sticking it to you deep. But the rich guy, look, let me tell you something. And this is just common sense, okay? I ain't never in my whole entire life, I'm 53 years old, I ain't never got a job from a poor man. Think about it. Have you? Seriously, have you ever, have you ever filled out an application? If you, we all got to make a living. If you ever got up one day said, I need to go say, switch my job. I need to fill out an application. Have you ever walked up to the guy at the corner store standing out there talking about some spare change and say, hey, man, can I fill out an application with you? I ain't never did it. Because poor people don't have the money and they don't have the jobs. So for you to sit up here and try to just look, this is totally backwards, okay? It's completely backwards. If you want to sit up here and say that the rich guy is my enemy and he's got a business and he's got a structure or a corporation or something like that, and he wants to hire me to work there, how is he my enemy? I'm being able to pay my bills, take care of my family, maybe even go on vacation, got a 401k, got a little life insurance, a little health insurance. How is this man, just because he got a few dollars in his pocket, just because he's rich, how is he my enemy? This is backwards thinking, and this is the kind of thinking that they want you to understand. Every cop is your enemy. The Wall Street is your enemy. Anybody that's got a couple of guns at home is your enemy. Come on now. Can we get past all that? Everybody can't be the enemy of the black man. Everybody do not want to use the black man in a sense to keep him down, take something away from him, or deny him anything. The only thing we're having today is a lack of education, a lack of ability to understand what we're really looking at. And I attribute a lot of that to the dumbing down of the education system. When they took religion out, you can't say the Pledge of Allegiance and all these other different things. Come on now, what sense does that make? Really, gotta scratch my head. Why you have people that join the military, go out and honorably serve. You have people that have died for this country. Literally just like, it gotta go. And did it willingly. And you mean to tell me our kids cannot recite the Pledge of Allegiance in school? Make that make sense to me. Where's the patriotism? Where's the love of your land? Don't get me wrong. We went through yesterday a whole lot of ugly, nasty stuff that the political parties did. But that still doesn't diminish the fact that you live here. It still doesn't diminish the fact that you still have the American dream afforded to you. You just have to get up off your tired behind and go get it. And a lot of us too lazy to get up off our asses and go get it. You can blame it on the Republican Party. You can blame it on the Democrat Party. But you can't blame it on nobody but yourself, to be honest. If you cannot get up out your bed every day and go get a job, pay your bills, live your life, then you can't blame any party one way or the other for the shortcomings that you may have. You are an American. You live on soil that was taken, but given back. You live in a country that has its sins, but works every day to redeem those sins. You live in a country where we started at nowhere and have the sky being our limit. But every day you hear people complain and talk about how the flag is this and set it on fire and all these other things. And that's totally ridiculous. Because you can't leave this country and go to a better spot. There is no better spot than where you are. The opportunities afforded to you. You don't take advantage of them, you can't blame nobody. We are the voters of this country. If we get tired of the political structure, all we have to do is get up off our asses and go vote. You can't do that in other countries. Seriously, look around, you can't. If you're in a communist country or a socialist country, believe me, you are not going to vote out the people that's robbing you blind. Just not going to happen. But in this country, if you don't like the power structure, if you don't like the way things are governed and ran, all you have to do, come together and do the one thing that I have not been telling you guys, and I'm going to make amends for that. It's election season. Please, no matter what your affiliation is, please go vote. You cannot complain about a damn thing if you haven't voted. I had people sit up all day long talking about, I didn't vote for him. Well, what the hell you talking about then? Shut the hell up. If you didn't vote, you ain't got nothing to say. You was silent, walk along, okay? But if you get your butt up off your lazy behind, go into no, the hell with that mail-in ballot crap, okay? That has ability to be really sneaky. Get up off your butt. Go to your polling station. Pick up your ballot. Give them your name. Show them your ID and vote. If you vote Biden, if you vote Trump, just vote. Do you understand how many people have died for that right? Do you know how many people have fought for that right? And y'all blow it off like it ain't no big deal. You have no sympathy for yourself and those that came before you to at least be real about it. Y'all say y'all real about everything else. Oh, I'm real about this. I'm real about that. Be real about your vote. Get up off your tired behind and say, you know what? I know the line long, but I got to do what I got to do. It's a civic duty. If you take advantages of all the things this country offers you, and you have an objection to the way it is being delivered to you, your way of objecting to that is to get up, be informed, know the issues, and vote. Don't sit back and cry about it when it's over. Just go vote, okay? You are watching The Intellect with JR. I'm your host on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. You can find us on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and all the top social media platforms. Come see about me. Might have a good conversation going on now. Okay. Everybody knows about Rosa Parks, okay? She was the first black lady, wouldn't give up her bus seat to a white man, right? But don't too many people know about Ida B. Wells. All right. Reason why you don't know about Ida B. Wells because she was a Republican. She, before Rosa Parks, refused to give up her first class train seat to a white man. All right. She was a black journalist, worked for a Republican newspaper that really was completely against lynching. Okay. That was not something that they was not good on. So the newspaper didn't promote that kind of stuff that she worked for. She made a statement saying what black people need at that time was the Second Amendment. Guess what? Times ain't changed too much, okay? We still need our Second Amendment. Let me remind you, Second Amendment is the right to bear arms, okay? And we need that. But every day, you have politicians that tell you or try to curtail that right. Now, let's be honest. Back during the times of the Klan in the South, they had these black codes, okay? And this is all history. You can go look up what I'm telling you. They had these black codes. Part of them black codes was that if you were black, you couldn't own a gun, all right? So what you think happened when the Klan come running all up in their yard? They couldn't protect themselves. Now, we're going to fast forward to today. Today, you still have one party animately trying to curtail your Second Amendment right. Don't that sound somewhat familiar? And they're using this excuse that gun violence is up. Can I remind you of one little thing? Guns don't shoot people. People shoot people. You can lay a gun on the table, I guarantee you that some bitch is not going to get up, walk around, and shoot you by itself. It's got to have legs. It's got to have a finger attached to it. It's got to be in a hand. That some bitch is not going to get up and walk around the room and shoot you on its own. So you do not curtail my right because you got a problem with the gun. The gun made this country strong ever since its founding. And now you want to stop that right? And then you wonder why the Democrats complain about Amy Coney Barrett being nominated for the Supreme Court. That kind of eliminates the idea of Democrats taking away your Second Amendment right. Kind of puts a little crimp in their plan, you know what I'm saying? If you are afraid of your government, then you are sick in your head. Because the way it's supposed to be set up, the government is supposed to be afraid of you. All right. Go check your history books. Read the Constitution, what they meant by it. Go read some of Jefferson's letters. I mean, come on now. Let's be real. You have to educate yourself. You can't let somebody just lead you around by the nose and tell you, okay, it's like this or it's like that, and you fall for it. Because your Second Amendment right is just as precious to you as your First Amendment. Be able to say whatever the hell you want to say. Freedom of speech. That's being curtailed in the internet right now, in the cyber world. If you say the wrong thing that doesn't actually fit up with someone's personal beliefs, guess what? You get blackballed, deleted, and probably your account shut down. That is some of the stuff our current president is dealing with right now. Because you have a lot of people complaining to him that the big tech companies are curtailing their speech. And in some cases that they are. And if you think that's right, then guess what? Just like they can do it to somebody else, that same weapon can be turned on you. Seriously. And they ain't got a problem with that. If it hurt them and you get to a certain point where you are capable of causing them some grief, it'll be turned on you then too. Just like with this Comey and Andrew McCabe thing. Andrew McCabe was called up by the chairman of the judiciary to come up for a hearing, just like Comey was. But McCabe decided he wanted to back out of that. Andrew McCabe. So now it's a question is, are they going to subpoena this cat and bring him on in? All right. Because he knows a lot about this Russia hoax. Okay. He knows the things that was going on and why General Flynn is still on trial for something he didn't do. And all of this stuff is stupid. All right. Just because you don't like the man, just because he acts like a bull in a china shop, and I'm referring to Donald John Trump, president. Just because you don't like this man, just because he done just upset your whole political structure that you thought to be so fine because, hell, let's admit it, he's not completely PC, all right? But he gets the job done. That's the problem. He gets the job done. He said he was going to restructure those trade deals. He got the job done. He said he was going to build a wall. He's getting the job done. He said he was going to raise the economic abilities of a lot of poor people in this country. He got the job done. Now, remember, we ain't talking about, Corona season. Pre-Corona, this economy was growing at a pace you couldn't even believe. I know a lot of Democrats want to say it was Obama. They left us in the economy. Come on now, let's quit lying. Quit lying. Go get the numbers, look at the facts. Don't give me some old crazy ass theory that you don't worked out in your head. The numbers speak for themselves. So you can't really come to me and say, well, he handed him over an economy that was growing at the time. It may have been, but now it's on jet fuel. Now we have a V-shaped recovery, which meant we went down, now we're on our way back up. Unemployment has dropped. 10 million new jobs were added in a very short time. And this is during Corona. And you find it really necessary to look at me and say you don't like my president because he seems a little bit like a bull in a china shop. Look, that is one of the problems we done had for a long, long time. You elected a man for personality. Some of us have. But the reality is, that's why we got where we are. It was time to change it up. A lot of people believe this country has been ran like a corporation, like a business for a number of years. So it was time for a businessman to step up. For a true businessman to run this country like a business. And what has happened? He went to NATO, told NATO, look here, we ain't doing this no more, like any smart businessman would do. We're not going to carry y'all on our backs. You need to up your contribution to NATO. If your percentage is supposed to be 1% of your GDP or 1/4 of your, whatever arrangement that it's supposed to be, you need to step up. Or maybe the United States don't need to be in NATO. What happened? NATO started paying like they were supposed to. It ain't happened before under any other administration. But you mad because he running through the China shop knocking shit over. All right. Deals with Mexico and Canada had us at a disadvantage. That's that NAFTA. He said, I'm getting rid of that. Now we got a new trade deal that works to our benefit. Not Canada, not Mexico. They get on board. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they ain't getting none. But what I'm saying is, if you Canada to the north and you Mexico to the south, all the money coming right here in the middle. When that deal, goes into effect, that's in January. That offers jobs. If you read it, see, that's our problem. We don't read these things. We don't check it out for ourselves. We let people just be in our ear telling us crap, and it be crap. But if you read the bill, you check it out, it benefits us a lot, especially the auto industry in Michigan. But let's move on. Look, when you tell me that you're going to set up economic zones in deprived areas and you actually go to do this, that was something brought over by Senator Tim Scott. All right. Went in Trump's office, told him I have an idea. Forgot Tim Scott. He's a black senator. Oh, Republican too. But he went into his office. They had a conversation about economic zones, opportunity zones. That's what they call it. And how they could set up businesses with a reduced tax burden just to be in deprived and impoverished areas. And before COVID, it was working quite well. And matter of fact, in certain locations, still working quite well. And there's still a lot of other areas that are benefiting from future investment. Didn't get that from any other previous administration. But just because he's a bull in a china shop, again, knocking shit over, he's still getting things done. Well, let's talk about criminal reform. All right. Remember Alice Johnson? Love that woman. Unfortunately, Alice Johnson spent a good part of her life imprisoned. And the woman spent years in prison for a nonviolent, first time offense. Did you hear me though? The woman ain't hurt nobody, ain't never did nothing wrong in her life, and was a first time offender. This woman stayed in prison for over 20 years and had plenty more years to go. Bless Kardashians, Kim Kardashian sorry about that. Bless Kim Kardashian's heart for doing what she did. She brought this to the president's attention. Now, I'm not really sure. Don't quote me on this, all right? I'm not really sure. But I believe it was reported that this woman's plight was brought before the first black president. I think it was. But he did nothing to get this woman out. But when it was brought before President Trump, he heard what the woman had dealt with, touched him a little taste. Now Alice Johnson is free with her family at home. You can complain about him being a bull in a china shop, but what I'm telling you are all facts. President Obama won Nobel Peace Prize. Why? Remember, this is an opinion show, just my humble opinion. President Obama won the Nobel Peace Prize. Ain't did jack, except for was the first black president. If that's not offensive, I don't know what is. You won the Nobel Peace Prize because you a black man and just absolutely won an election? I digress. But Donald Trump, current president, has been nominated twice for the Nobel Peace Prize for his achievements in the Middle East. You didn't hear me though. He been nominated twice, 2 times, right there in front of the camera. Nominated twice. Might have been third time. I just know for a fact he's been nominated twice for the Nobel Peace Prize. Do you think he's gonna get it? He's too effective. The man does what he says he's going to do, and then some. Look, you can be partisan. You can be totally 110 Democrat. I'm riding or dying. Now, I got you. I ain't holding you up. Do what you do. But you cannot, with any good conscience, deny facts and results. And that's what we got a problem with. I mean, come on now. I'm not saying look, the man as the president has done some things that was cringe-worthy. And they made me cringe. I'm not going to sit up here and lie and say, oh, he's 100. He's just like, no, I'm not BSing you. Some things he has said, yeah, I don't have no problem with fact checking you. I don't care if you are on my political party. I'll fact check your ass. I ain't got no problem with that. Excuse me. Got to wet the palate. I ain't got no problem with it. I really don't. Because what you saying, I got to see how that's going to affect me. And if you ain't saying something that's not making any sense and I go fact check you, you're going to change my opinion slowly but surely about you. And if I, at a certain point, as we say, that straw that breaks the camel's back, at a certain point, and you done told me all these different, I can't fool with you no more. I can't vote for you no more. I don't even want to hear nothing you saying no more. Because I've checked you out and I know you're into something I ain't trying to do. And that's how all of us should be. But you cannot, under any circumstances, go to the polls uneducated, just no knowledge of the issues. You have to have knowledge of the issues and what it is that these people are talking about that will definitely affect you. I believe higher taxes will definitely affect us. I believe that higher utility bills will definitely affect us. I believe that, wars in odd ass places around this globe will definitely affect us in a very adverse way. But we continue to walk lockstep straight towards this big crevice. And people talking about the current president is this, that, and the other. Look, I do not feel that we should elect, hire, or bring anybody on board simply because their personalities is all real shiny. They could be some of the most inept individuals on the planet. Just because you like them don't mean they smart. Just because you like them don't mean their policies work. You have to just look at it and say, okay, if this has been tried before and didn't work then, what the hell make you think it's going to work now? Socialism ain't never worked nowhere on the planet. Communism ain't never worked anywhere on this planet to a benefit. That both of those political structures done killed millions. But you still have communist China. Communist China that gives no rights to anybody really over there unless you're connected to the party. Ask the Uyghurs. They'll tell you. They getting thrown in concentration camps every day. Or, I'm sorry, re-education camps. That's the thing. I'm sorry. I want to be politically correct. Don't want the Chinese being upset. Even though I still feel like, thank you for that gift of Corona. Look, the bottom line is socialism ain't never worked nowhere. Communism ain't never worked nowhere. I'm sorry. I have to be correct. Anywhere. So, what makes you think that socialism will work here in this country? It never has, and it won't. It really won't. And if you have political leaders, because we ain't talking about the rank and file, like I said, all of us are promised certain things. And if those certain things work in our sphere, in our area, say, for instance, you have a politician that's saying, we're going to upgrade the housing in this area. We're going to put more economic empowerment in this area, right? You live in an impoverished area. You might vote for that person because you want your area to receive what this person promises. But here's the rub. After about 4 years of living in the same impoverished area, election cycle again, they want to get reelected. So guess what they gonna do? They gonna come to your neighborhood that was impoverished 4 years prior and ask you to vote for them because they're gonna change that again. But do they ever? The only way you have power over any of this is with your vote. If you can get to that ballot and you can fill it out and drop it in the box, your voice is speaking at that moment in time. But your decisions, the choices that we have to make in these elections, are valid. They're very valuable. You have to actually be educated about this. You can't just walk in there and just grab a ballot and just start clicking off because you're a Democrat. You can't go in there and just start clicking off because you're a Republican. Straight and vote. You voting straight ticket. You have to go in there and know why you voting for John James. You have to go in there and know why you voting for well, President Trump. South Carolina. You gotta know why you vote for Lindsey Graham. You know what I'm saying? You have to know these things. They have to benefit you to where it works for you. But it doesn't say that you have to walk lockstep because you're a black person or Hispanic and vote Democrat. Why? Because the other folks did it. I mean, come on now. You got to open up your mind a little bit. If each of the candidates are talking to you as an individual, not a potential vote, an individual, telling you, saying, well, look, this is why I think you should vote for me, and lay it out for you. And if you think what they're saying works for you, then you should vote for that person. But if you got somebody that's coming to you telling you they can't even answer the question of, if you're elected, are you going to pack the Supreme Court? That's going to definitely affect all of us. If you say, do you want to do away with the filibuster, and you can't even answer that question, again, that affects all of us. The way the Constitution was structured and the way our government is set up, it gives the minority some tools to work with. So even if the Democrats are in the minority and they still have the filibuster, they can filibuster. They don't have to go lockstep with whatever the Republican Party says or whatever the Republican Party puts on the table. They don't have to do that. But the Democrats are threatening to remove the filibuster. They're also threatening to pack the Supreme Court. That changes the structure of this country in immense ways you could never imagine. Now, this may sound like, hyperbole. It may sound like, fear-mongering. Open your eyes. Study a little bit. Just read a book. You'll see what I'm talking about. The structure of the government was set into place the way that it is in order for even the minority to have a fair shake, even the minority to have a certain amount of power, because neither party, no matter the number, had the total 100% control. If you remove the filibuster, one party controls everything by just a majority vote. It could be 51, and that'll do it. Now, do you want to really be governed by somebody with just one vote ahead to get you where you got to go when you know that what they voting for might not be in your best interest? You have to understand the threats that's being brought to this country. It was always said that this country would never be destroyed from the outside. It would only be destroyed from within. Do you think these policies and these ideas that a lot of these political leaders have are advantageous to us, to you, to me? Do you think these policies that they are bringing forth, these ideas, these threats, are beneficial to us in the long run? Because you have to remember, if you change the structure of the court, say for instance Joe Biden gets in. Right now, you have 9 justices, okay? Now, the Democrats don't have the number of justices that they would like to have on the court. If you do away with the filibuster, you pack the court with judges that are more in line with your line of thinking, then what happens? We basically have a banana republic, because now you have enough judges on the court to outweigh the conservative judges. But wait, there's more. If by any stretch of the imagination a Republican after this takes power, what you think he's gonna do with the court? He's gonna blow it up too. Then we have a runaway situation. Democrats are threatening to bring Puerto Rico, I think it's Puerto Rico, and Washington, D.C., and make them both states. You would think that's a good thing, but in the structure that is set up, that would make it so it's already difficult for a Republican to win the presidency. Okay, you just have to look at the landscape, look at the map, just look at it. It's hard. It's not easy. It's easier for a Democrat to win the presidency than it is for a Republican. But here's the thing. You bring Puerto Rico in, make it a state. You bring in Washington, D.C., which is actually a province, but now they want to make it a state, District of Columbia. Guess what? Now you have more seats to the Senate. You have more seats to the Congress, House of Representatives, outweighing any ability that the Republicans may even come close to counterbalancing. It just wouldn't work. So that means that perpetually we would end up with Democrat administrations. You want to live under one house rule, or do you still want your rights and everything else to be acknowledged? Because that's what's happening. That's the argument that they're having right now, is that if the Republicans add Amy Coney Bryant to the Supreme Court, this is what they want to do. Foregoing whatever you may feel is right. Remember now, we vote for these people. Is that something that you think you would be good with? Now, you have to remember, everybody's sitting up here crying about what happened with President Obama's nomination. Okay? I think his name was Merrick Garland, I think it was. But you don't understand the way the structure is. Now, had it been a Democrat president, which was Obama, and had it been a Democrat Senate, wouldn't have been no problem. Wouldn't have been no problem. Garland would be on the Supreme Court. Merrick Garland, I think, would be on the Supreme Court. Obama's pick. But you can't hate the player, hate the game. Because if you know the game, then you understand how that works. You have a Republican president, and you have a Republican Senate. Their constitutional, well, I ain't going to say right, let's just see it. Their constitutional duty is to pick a nominee for the Supreme Court. The Senate then has to advise and consent on the president's pick. Nothing has been done wrong, but you have Democrats consistently crying, oh, we should go on after the election. It doesn't have to. Simply because Obama didn't have the Senate at the time he was the president. You want us to stop doing what we're supposed to do on a constitutional basis? Okay, let's ask this question then. Let's just banter this around real quick. When President Obama was in office, what did President Obama say? Elections have consequences. Ain't that what he said? But now when that's said to the other party, they're all up in an uproar. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi. Do you know what the problem really is? Let's be honest. Let's call it like we see it. There is finally a potential for the Republican Party to pick up a lot of black votes for the first time in a long time. And that scares them. It's always been said that we hold our own power and our own fate in our own hands. But if you throw your vote away as if it's monolithic or as if you're required to do it because you're a certain shade, you lose your power real quick. And that's where we have our problem. Look, this is the only country where if you came together with your fellow man even if your political views are antithetical to what the Constitution states and stuff, if enough of y'all come together and believe in the same thing, you then can run the country. So if you have a lot of black people that vote only Democrat, but the Democrat Party and its policies are not working for you, then guess what? If you take your vote away, they get really scared real fast and start changing that. But you can't change anything until you make that move and vote. You have to go to the polls. You have to get your butt up off your tired behind and vote. If in if in any jurisdiction you are not allowed to vote because of your past record, I'm sorry. You know, that's one of the American things that need to be corrected. Because if you don't pay your debts to society, you should be allowed to participate in the American process. All right. But for those of you that don't have those issues, you have no excuse. You can't cry and say, okay, my taxes done went up. You can't cry and say, oh, the rich white guy making all this money. You can't say the Cheeto guy is pissing me off. You didn't vote for him, so what the hell? You can't complain. But if you get up, you make a conscious effort to let your voice be heard. But before you speak, know the facts. Then you can make a change in everything. If you don't like Trump, don't vote for him. If you like Trump, vote for him. If you don't like Joe Biden, don't vote for him. If you like Joe Biden, vote for him. But at least get up off your ass and vote. Because really, look, real talk. Our community used to be strong when it came to voting. You know what I'm saying? At one point in time, you could not stop the black community from voting. And we did it at a very, very large rate at one point in time. Those numbers have dropped off. Those numbers need to come back. But they need to come back educated. They need to come back and know what is the benefit to voting Democrat and what is the benefit to voting Republican. A lot of people that I talk to, and I ask them these three questions. Excuse me. The three questions are simple. Do you, as a citizen of the United States, think that there should be less government involvement in your life, that your taxes should be really low, and that you should have a strong military to protect you and your family? Those three questions alone, everybody I've asked that have said those three questions are positive. Now, we'll go back in history a little taste. John F. Kennedy, a Democrat president, believed in low taxes, less government involvement in your life, and a strong military. With today's Democrat Party, do you honestly think that John F. Kennedy, Democrat president, could have won the nomination for his party as Democrat leader, as the Democrat president, under the things that they're talking about today? Socialism and open borders? Really? Seriously? Economic downturn? Come on now. These all are detrimental to the black community. All of the things I just mentioned are detrimental to the black community. And I'm not saying that you have to like Trump to vote for him. And I'm not saying you have to like Joe Biden to vote for him. All I'm saying is educate yourself on what's going on at this election cycle and prepare yourself for a really rough ride. We're going to wrap it up today. I've truly enjoyed talking with you. And please, tune in next Saturday. You are watching The Intellect with JR on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. You can find us on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and all the top social media platforms. You guys enjoy your Sunday. Go Lions. I hope you win, but I ain't really going to say they are. See you guys later.